Right now, our very own Dan Mwangi is standing off on the other side of the studio to take you through the numbers. What do we expect? Where are we currently? Dan, please take it away.
Thank you very much, James and Smriti. And I'm not alone here. I'm with Tom Wolf, so we could try and make some sense of the numbers. And context is always important. So context in regards to some comparisons to the last election. And even before we look at that in its entirety, let's see where we are today. Right now, as we speak, let me just get the numbers. Anyway, so the numbers currently. This is 2017, so we'll be comparing 2017 to 2022. We'll be using these maps, and I'll explain how in a short while. 2022, this is, let me first expand this page. This is the version that only shows the version that only shows the map. So I'll just go back to that first of all. So this is the 2017. Let me go to 2022 on this one. So we have the map here. So Tom, first of all, just for the sake of context and understanding, what would be important, or what is identifiable now when we compare some of the numbers in 2022, as much as they're provisional, but we've got quite a significant chunk of them, to 2017, especially when we think about Raila Odinga, still being a presidential candidate, and William Ruto, he was part of the presidential ticket back then.
Sure, Dan. Obviously, at the moment, most Kenyans and others are mainly interested to know who is going to win and by how much. But it should only take us a moment, as you suggest, to take a step back and look at a couple of other issues. First of all, by how much of a win, and with what level of general acceptance that the election was conducted according to the law and the Constitution. But then to move to what you are addressing, to get in some inside of the numbers and make a few comparisons that we have time for with the pattern in the last election. Not just from an academic point of view, to try and measure the influence of individual leaders, either in their individual capacity or the ethnic groups that they represent, but also what these numbers in particular constituencies represent for what is going to have a major influence on the policy and, I can say, behavioral content of whoever is running the next government. Because in any democracy, although leaders at the national level and even subnational serve all of the citizens in their electoral units, their first obligation is political, to address those people who voted for them, especially where they had articulated policies that were different from those of their opponents. So in looking at these shifts from 5 years ago to now, will give us some idea, I think, of how both of those issues could be addressed by further research in more detail.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's sample some of the counties where we can kind of look at the performance in 2017, 2022. Maybe we can begin with, let's begin somewhere in central Kenya. This may be misbehaving now, but let me first reset the zoom. So I will, let's see, let's try, let me reload this page so that we can, yes, here comes the map. Let me just expand this page a bit. It should sort that out. That said, however, let's first of all look at 2017.
Which county should we start with?
Let's start with Nyeri County, which currently has had a UDA wave in regards to the members of National Assembly so far. A number of those who have been announced, and also we just see we'll see the how it's performing. And
that's where the Kenya Kwanza deputy presidential running mate comes from as well.
Exactly.
Of course, in Mathira.
Yes, in Mathira, which is in Nyeri County. So in 2017, Uhuru Kenyatta, the Jubilee ticket, they had 98.35% in Nyeri County. Raila Odinga had 1.2%, and the number of votes he had were 4,035, 4,000 in regards to just absolute numbers. Now, I'm trying to see how to, let me see whether I can open.
And of course, I know
Yes.
one of the main reasons that you picked Nyeri among some other central counties is because, unlike the 2017 contest,
Yes.
when Raila Odinga had somebody from Lower Eastern as his running mate, this time, and you'll remember,
Yeah.
he identified Honorable Martha Karua as his running mate, not from Nyeri, but from Kirinyaga.
Yes.
The day after, the Deputy President William Ruto identified Honorable Gachagua as his
Gachagua.
running mate. So even if she comes from a different county, it was assumed that she would help him get a certain proportion of votes on the mountain,
Yes.
of which he got almost none last time, as you just mentioned. In Nyeri, I think you said 1%.
Yes, it was 1.2, yeah.
So the question was, especially given, I believe, the 4.6 million voters and the Mount Kenya area as a whole, given the inroads that the Deputy President has made over the last 5 years in other parts of the country that had been previously Raila or opposition strongholds, like Western and Coast, the big question is how much, with the support of the current president, outgoing,
Yeah.
and his running mate, what kind of inroads, at what level would he be able to make in this very vote-rich region around the mountain?
Okay. Yeah, so I finally managed to crack it. So we have the...
I was giving you a little
Thank
time
you.
to do
You
that.
play well. Put it here. Thank you. So far, the provisional results show that William Ruto is at 84% and Raila Odinga is at 15%.
So he's multiplied his vote basket 15 times.
Yes, actually, yes. In terms of the absolute numbers, this last time he had 4735, now he has 46,710 so far.
That must be because in general there's a lower turnout overall.
Okay, but we see right now he has 10 times what he had in terms of, almost 10 times what he had in 20.
Okay, it's 10, not 1.
Yes, yes, 10 times in terms of the numbers.
The numbers of votes.
The numbers of votes,
Right.
yes, not the percentage.
The percentage, yes.
So what does this say? Because, you know, William Ruto, yes, is taking a huge chunk of Nyeri County as it stands, and Raila Odinga not so much, but it's more for Raila Odinga than he had before.
Well, you ask a question which, as our other panelist, Dr. Tari from the University of Ed will say, you have to do the research on the ground after the election and find out. We cannot assume, or it would be academically irresponsible to assume, that the only reason that Raila Odinga has increased his percentage in Nyeri so much is because of the ethnic identity of his running mate. People may have, even if he even had picked anyone for a running mate, he might have had a substantial improvement in his totals this time for other reasons, either related to the policies that he's offered, or also perhaps the endorsement from the president, separate from who his running mate is. So we'd have to go on the ground, and whether through individual interviews or focus groups, whatever, speaking to opinion leaders to find out how they could explain that. And in particular, we would have to, or what I would suggest, if you can give me some research money, we tracked down some of these 46,000, almost 47, who voted for Raila this time, and asked them who they voted for in the last election. And we know from the figures you gave me that 95% or 99% who voted against Raila last time voted for Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto, and asked them why they changed. And you may have seen in the newspaper day before yesterday an article I wrote where I addressed this issue of people all over the country who said they had voted for Raila last time, but this time were not voting for him, why they changed, and we got that distribution. But this is more geographic specific, and that would really help us to get a better picture of what was motivating voters at that level. So give me a couple of weeks or whatever to get to the field. I love Nyeri. I'll go back, I'll see if I can find some of these people, and then I'll give you a report, and you can pay me for that.
Ah, well done. You send me an invoice.
Okay,
and so
good.
we'll come back to that later. So that's Nyeri County, where we have the UDA presidential running mate coming from, so we could see how it plays out. We'll come back later in the broadcast to look at Kirinyaga County, where the Azimio One Kenya running mate, candidate running mate is coming from. That is Martha Karua. Then we'll look at
some other places,
places which have been, you know, the coast and the likes. We'll come back to that after this. But first, let me hand you back to James and Smriti.